everyone, a very warm welcome. This is the news on NTA International. My name is Justin Bemui, and here are the major stories. Leader of proscribed Islamic movement in Nigeria, El-Zakzaky and wife back in Nigeria after 4 days in India for a failed medical treatment. National Assembly leadership assures President Muhammadu Buhari of symbiotic relationship between the executive and legislature. Plus, a federal government to appeal verdict of an English court on the dispute between Nigeria and the company on gas development project. Well, thank you very much for joining us. The leader of the proscribed Islamic movement in Nigeria, Sheikh El-Zakzaky, and his wife Zinat have returned to Nigeria on board an Ethiopian Airlines at about 11:45 Friday morning. Let's join Emmanuel Aimiro, who was at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, when the plane landed, to tell us what had transpired.
Journalists waited in vain at the arrival exit of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, to catch a glimpse of the IMN leader, Ibrahim El-Zakzaky, and his wife Zinat, who returned from India. A reliable source told NTA that security operatives whisked away the IMN leader. Now that he's back in Abuja, it is not clear whether he's back to continue with his treatment or to face his trials. El-Zakzaky departed for India on Monday this week, but could not proceed with the medical treatment after an audio message said to have come from him saying he does not wish to continue with the treatment in India. Emmanuel Ayemiro, NTA News.
Time following the sudden return of the leader of the proscribed Islamic movement in Nigeria, Sheikh Ibrahim El-Zakzaky, from India, the federal government wishes to inform the public about the latest development in the medical trip controversies to India, resulting to the IMN leader returning back to Nigeria. However, El-Zakzaky, the statement maintained, used the opportunity of being in India to attempt to internationalize his cause by mobilizing rights groups. Even most unfortunate and rather embarrassing was his quest to be relocated to a 5-star hotel to receive visitors instead of being admitted in the hospital as a sick person he claimed to be. In spite of El-Zakzaky's misconduct, the statement added, his spouse went further to antagonize the Indian and Nigerian security agents and accused them of killing her children. These acts were aimed at winning international sympathy as well as disparaging the Nigerian government. Having subordinated the quest for medical treatment to other ulterior motives, it became obvious that El-Zakzaky was focused on realizing some sinister motives, hence his decision to return him to Nigeria. It was another busy day for President Muhammadu Buhari in Daura, Katsina State, as Nigerians from all walks of life continued to converge on his country home in demonstration of support and solidarity for nation building. The latest to visit was the President of the Senate, Ahmed Ibrahim Lawan, who reassured the Nigerian leader of the genuine commitment by the National Assembly to support his efforts at bequeathing worthy legacies for generations yet unborn. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu has the report.
Just returning from the journey of faith to Saudi Arabia, the spiritually reawakened President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, was accompanied to Daura by principal officers of the Senate across party lines. The mission of the Senate leadership here is not only to pay deference respect to the President, but also to renew its loyalty and commitment to him and indeed Nigeria. Issues critical to peace, unity and prosperity of the country were discussed between the President and his guests during the closed-door engagement that lasted about 1 hour. The highly elated President Buhari was seen exchanging light teasing repartee with the lawmakers as they depart for Abuja.
I will not smile.
Speaking to newsmen on the visit, Senate President Ahmed Lawan was emphatic that the 9th Senate is irrevocably committed to the promising vision and mission of President Buhari for sustainable future of the country.
We have renewed that commitment to Mr. President, that we are going to remain committed and focused on what we should be doing to ensure that Nigerians get a very good and better deal, really, in the current dispensation. So we are already primed and waiting for the next line of action, which is going to be on the budget 2020, which we believe that the executive will work so hard to present to the National Assembly at the end of September, and then we are promised that we'll do everything and anything possible to ensure that we pass it before we go on Christmas break by the grace of God.
Before going on annual recess, the Senate screened and confirmed all the nominees of the president for ministerial positions, and NTA News sought to know the Senate president's impression on their capacity to drive the next level agenda.
These people are people of great experience, of great deal of patriotism and commitment. They have shown capacity, all of them. And in fact, one thing that was even more encouraging was the capacity exhibited by the ladies nominated, I think 7 of them. So we are looking forward with excitement to working with them. We are going to be very strict with our oversight. We intend to make it so that everybody is on his toes to perform. Mr. President will be leaving by the grace of God at the end of this tenure in 2023. Mr. President has expressed his desire to leave legacies. We are with him on this all the way, and the only way we can ensure that legacies are left by Mr. President is to insist that whoever is given a responsibility performs that responsibility. So we are going to work with those ministers and any head of agency to ensure that the policies of government, the legislation that we pass are implemented to the letter to ensure that we are able to achieve those things, laudable and noble programs and projects of the federal government of Nigeria.
More Nigerians continue to pay homage on the president. From Daura, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, members of the Katsina State House of Assembly have been tasked to be firm, honest and fair in discharging their legislative duties for enhanced livelihood of their constituents. Receiving the state lawmakers led by Speaker Tasiu Musa Megari on a solidarity visit, the president maintains that leadership entails earning the trust of the people and consistently staying the path of honesty and fairness. He urged the lawmakers to be selfless, visionary, and committed to meeting the needs of the electorate while minding their constitutional responsibilities. The Speaker of the State Assembly, Tasiu Musa Megari, thanked the President for providing leadership at the national level and setting a standard on integrity and forthrightness for others to emulate. The federal government says it will appeal the judgment of the English court against Nigeria on the dispute led to the arbitration between it and Process and Industrial Development Limited. In a statement, the Solicitor General of the Federation and Permanent Secretary, Federal Minister of Justice, Dayo Akpata, says counsel to the federal government have been instructed to seek the stay of execution of the judgment. The federal government reaffirms its commitment to defend the interest of Nigeria in the matter by exploring every viable option. The dispute arose from a 20-year gas supply and processing agreement regarding accelerated gas development project. The statement affirmed that the Process and Industrial Development Limited never began the construction of the project facility, but alleges it incurred $40 million in its preliminary expenses. Transborder travelings with no effective transportation and communication systems. Religious missionaries and expeditions of the olden days were responsible for the separation of families, relatives and friends whom, for circumstances beyond their control, settled in countries, states or towns other than theirs. Now, this was played out when Gambian High Commissioner to Nigeria, Amadou Sheikh Umar Tau, traced his long-separated relatives, Yeleman district in Hadejia Emirate of Jigawa State, where he celebrated the just concluded Eid al-Kabir with them. Mohammed Musa Askira completes the report.
History books show that Sheikh Umaru Al-Futi, the founder of Tekolo Empire, the spiritual and military commander of Tijaniya sect in what is now known as Guinea, Senegal, Gambia and Mali, left Futa Toro in Senegal for expedition across West African sub-region in the early years of the 20th century. Yelliman town in Hadejia Emirate of Jigawa State in Nigeria was one of the places he visited, where he left his grandsons and daughters. Those left behind were the great-grandfathers of the present Sarki of Yelliman, Sardauna Habib Tal, who is also the Khalifa of Sheikh Umar Al-Futi. In a surprising move to reunite the two separated families by distance, the Gambian High Commissioner to Nigeria, Ahmadu Sheikh Umar Tal, traveled to Jigawa State to spend the Eid al-Kabir celebration break with his Gambian relatives based in Nigeria. While at the Yelliman town, the High Commissioner Ahmadu Sheikh Umar Tal was accompanied by the Khalifa Sardauna Habib Tal to pay homage on the Emir of Hadejia, Al-Hajj Adamu Abubakar Maji, where he thanked the Emir and the people of Hadejia for accommodating his relatives and treat them in no different way as their own people.
Since independence, we have been working very closely, and Nigeria, being the big brother, has actually helped the Gambia a lot over the years, through technical assistance and so on. So we are very much grateful to the government of Nigeria.
The Sarki of Yelliman, Sardauna Habib Tal, who took time to explain the long-standing relationship, described Nigeria and Gambia as one country separated by distance, as two countries have many things in common. The reunited brothers agreed to sustain the rekindled brotherhood prompted by the visit of the High Commissioner. From Dutse, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
Nigeria film industry has continued to attract international attention, with Latin America becoming the new frontier following the signing of MOU between Nigeria and Argentina to collaborate in film production. Argentina's interest in Nigeria films is said to be triggered by the role of a Nigerian slave in actualizing the independence of that country. And Ngozi Silva Technical reports.
This endorsement by the Nigerian partners in the Memorandum of Understanding clears the coast for a prominent Argentina film producer, Cesar Pablo, to bring his expertise to bear in explaining to the world, through film production, the contribution of a female slave from Nigeria to the independence of Argentina over 200 years ago. The co-producer and financier of the film project, Mohamed Hayatu Ahmed, Maria Remedios Del Val's role is similar to other Nigerian women like the legendary Queen Amina, whose bravery contributed to the liberation of the black race, and now Argentina cannot be forgotten in a hurry.
200 years ago, in the 18th century, a woman was captured here from Lagos and was sailed to South America, precisely Argentina. So she played a key role in gaining Argentinian independence. But unfortunately, history was rewritten, and that part of it was not carried along. That's why we decided to make it a 60-40 participation.
This collaboration is intended to foster bicultural exchange, inject professionalism in Nigerian film production, with some parts of the film shot in Nigeria.
Nigeria never produced any Oscar award-winning movie. This kind of collaboration will help to bring Nigeria enterprise in the area of motion picture to the front burner where it rightly deserves.
The MOU between Nigeria and Argentina is also expected to strengthen cooperations in trade and investment between the two nations. In Abuja, Ngozi Silva Technical, NTA News.
You're watching the news on Inter International, reaching you from Abuja. Time to take a short break. We shall be back with more news in a moment.
This is to inform all prospective core members that the NYSC 2019 Batch B Stream 2 orientation course will commence on Tuesday, 20th August 2019 in all NYSC orientation camps as follows. Commencement and registration, Tuesday, 20th August. Cut-off date for registration, 12 midnight, Wednesday, 21st August. Swearing-in ceremony, Thursday, 22nd August. Closing ceremony, Monday, 9th September. Prospective core members are advised to check the following newspapers for details of the orientation course: Leadership, Friday 16th August. Punch, Monday 19th August. The Sun, Tuesday 20th August. This day, Wednesday 21st August. Prospective corps members advised to report to the orientation camp indicated on their call-up letters. Signed, Management.
NTA International News. Africa as it is.
Thank you for staying with us. The arraignment of a soldier who was alleged for rape suffered another setback as the magistrate court sitting in Akure insisted that the legal advice by the State Ministry of Justice for prosecution be brought before the court. Oluwakemi Damola reports that the court ordered the accused be remanded in prison till November 15th.
Counsel to the defendant, while reacting to the notice of the arraignment, maintained that the counsel to the accused person just serving the court process in the court. He told the court that he needed time to react to the process. Ruling on this, the court ordered that the accused person be remanded at the police custody till Friday, August 16 for proper arraignment.
What we are seeing is a manifestation of the approval and equally compliance with the protest and request of Mr. Governor that the suspect be investigated and prosecuted.
I'm very sure by that day, the solicitor to the defendant will have filed his own counter affidavit. Then the matter will now go on.
Student to remain calm, that justice will be done on the case.
It will be recalled that the accused allegedly raped a 311 student of Adekunle Ajasin University, Akungba Akoko, in Ondo State last month. In Akure, Oluwakemi Ademola, NTA News.
Inflation slows for second consecutive month in Nigeria. For these and other stories trending in the financial sector, over now to Olayinka Ojo.
Welcome to Business News. Latest headline inflation released by the National Bureau of Statistics shows that on month-on-month basis, the headline index increased by 1.01% in July 2019. This is 0.06% rate lower than the rate recorded in June 2019. The urban inflation rate increased by 11.43% in July from 11.61% recorded in June 2019. While the rural inflation rate increased by 10.64% in July 2019 from 10.87% in June 2019. The composite food index rose by 13.39% in July compared to 13.56% in June 2019. The report shows that the rise in the food index was caused by increases in prices of oil and fats, meat, bread and cereals, potatoes, yam, other tubers and fish. On month-on-month basis, the food sub-index increased by 1.26% in July 2019, down by 0.10% points from 1.36% recorded in June 2019. Let's now see how the equities market fared this Friday. And that's it on this segment of the news. I am Olayinka Ojo.
And on the foreign scene, 233 passengers escaped death as a Russian pilot crash-landed Airbus jet in a cornfield safely. Ilyasu Ali Yakubu reports.
Glad to have you join me on this segment of the news. Zimbabwe's main opposition group has called off anti-government protests in the capital Harare at the last minute after failing to overturn a police ban. However, some protesters who had already gathered in the city were violently dispersed by police. The opposition said the ban exposed the fascist government's true colors. The demonstration was called in protest at the government's handling of the economy, but police said they had evidence it could turn violent. There is a heavy police presence and the city center is subdued with most shops closed. North Korea has rejected any further talks with South Korea, calling its decision completely the fault of South Koreans' action. It issued a statement in response to a speech by South Korean President Moon Jae-in on Thursday. Meanwhile, early on Friday, North Korea test-fired 2 missiles into the sea off its eastern coast. The South Korean military said this is the 6th such test in less than a month. 6 days ago, North Korea fired 2 short-range ballistic missiles into the Sea of Japan-East Sea. The Russian pilot who has crash-landed a fuel-landing Airbus jet in a cornfield without any serious harm to the 233 people on board has been described as a hero. The A321 was moments into its flight after taking off from Moscow Zhukovsky Airport when a flock of seagulls got soaked into its engine, causing both to fail. It was a regular flight from Moscow to Crimea with 226 passengers on board, mostly going on holiday to the seaside. That's it on this segment. My name is Ilyasu Aliyakubu. The news continues.
President Muhammadu Buhari is asking the young men and women in the country to take up sports as career to further unite the country and earn respectable incomes. The president was speaking in Daura while playing host to soccer teams and members of the organizing committee of the PMB Cup for Change, an annual football contest in Daura Emirate. Samson Siasia banned by FIFA as Team Nigeria land in Morocco. Amanzi Marcus reports on Sports Update.